Hey everybody, it's the American Phoenix here, and I wanted to come at you guys and do a little bit of a cooking video. I know that I had posted the recipe for my chili on my Twitter, and I've sent it out to a few people, but after seeing how certain people are reacting going on right now, it's come to my attention that maybe not everybody really knows how to cook a good, low-cost, high-quality, nourishing, filling meal. So this is just something really basic. It's not 5-star. You're not going to be able to go order this in a restaurant, but it's very good, it's very filling, and it's incredibly cheap. I mean, I'll break down the prices of these items as I go through them, but realistically, you're looking at maybe a $10 to $12 for all the ingredients. And once it's all said and done, I'm 320 pounds, and this meal will feed me for 5 meals just off of what I'm getting ready to show you. So I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that it makes sense. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave them down in the comment section, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Okay, so step one in this process is very simply cook beans. You can use the ones out of the can. That's fine. I personally don't. I prefer to cook my own. It's really simple. It's a lot cheaper. It's like you can see right here. I got a big 10-pound bag out of it. I've already cooked 3 meals out of this, and 2 of them were this chili that I'm getting ready to make right now. That whole 10-pound bag cost me about $11 to $12. I bought it at Walmart, and trust me when I tell you, that is enough. You don't need to be going nuts and buying, 8 or 9 of those damn things, okay? Just buy one. That's enough to feed a family for at least a week each. So once you cook your beans, if you already know how to do that, awesome. If you don't, easiest, simplest way I know to cook beans. Take them, soak them overnight. So just put them in a pot, put a couple inches of water above them, soak them overnight. Then in the morning, dump that water out, give them a real quick rinse, and then fill the pot back up with water. Add your salt, and you can add other ingredients if you want, Some people add garlic, some people add cumin. I personally just like to use nothing but salt when I'm cooking them originally. I can add the flavorings later, but I want a very neutral taste on the beans. So after you do that, you just simply boil them up until they start to break down a little bit, get really soft. That is step number 1. Once that's done, take them out, drain them, or don't drain them. It's up to you. You shouldn't actually have that much liquid left over when you're done, by the way, just a little heads up. So once you get done with all of that, store them, take them, put them in the refrigerator. They'll last for a week or 2. It's not a big deal. And then once you have that, like I said, that is step 1 before you even start making this chili. Now we're going to get into steps 2 through the rest. Now, I just have a little electric burner. I'll give you a close-up of that here in a second. And I just use a simple cooking pot, stainless steel cooking pot. For this meal, I'm using some stew meat. Nothing fancy about it. This costs $12, $11.53. You can probably find it cheaper where you're at. I was just limited because, well, I'm a truck driver and we don't really have that much as far as grocery shopping around us. So we're going to put this in the pan. We're going to brown it up. For me, I just use a little bit of butter. Doesn't matter what you use. You can use butter or oil. I prefer to always cook with butter, but really it's up to you. Okay, and here's that burner I was just talking about. Like I said, it's nothing special. It literally is just a cheap little, I want to say $9, maybe $12 burner from Walmart. Plugs into anywhere that you have a regular house plug, so yeah, there's that, and I'm going to go ahead and get the meat browning, and I will come back to you guys with a little bit of an update on that. Okay, something to keep in mind with this meal is obviously for this I'm using stew meat. Under normal circumstances, if I was able to get it, I would be using rib trimmings. And rib trimmings, they come under different names, but you can go find them in the meat section. They look like scraps of meat because, well, that's what they are. It's the meat that's left over after they cut the main meat off, and it's the scrapes that they have left on the bones. Those are removed, and packaged and sold incredibly cheaply. So you can actually make this meal much cheaper if you have access to those. I just didn't have access to them at this time. So just keep that in mind. But when you're cooking with stew meat like this, stew meat's a very tough meat. So it's very important that you actually take the time and let it stew out a little bit. This has been going for maybe 20 minutes or so. I'm probably going to give it another 20 to 30 minutes before I even think about adding the beans, because I want this meat to cook fully, stew a little bit, and really start to break down. We're not going to make a stew out of this, so we want the meat to break down a little bit and not be in such big chunks. So just keep that in mind when you're cooking that if you go this route. Okay, y'all. Well, we've gotten to the point now where the meat's broken down pretty well. So what I would suggest is to go ahead and add a little bit of water. Let that cook down. This has been going on for about an hour and a half that I've just been letting this cook down and soften up. Now, once you get to this stage, add a little bit more water and just scrape the bottom, because, you know, you're going to have all that nice fond. And fond, if you don't know, is just a little brown crust bits that are on the bottom of it that stick to the bottom of your pan. Tons of flavor in this. So now, next step is to add the beans. You know, this is just a can or plastic thing that I'm using to hold them right now, but those have already been pre-cooked, like I discussed earlier. So there's that. Then you have your choice of seasonings. Some of these are optional, some of them really aren't. This right here, ground cumin, it's about $1 for this at Walmart. This is your most important seasoning. Add everything to taste. I'm not going to give any specific measurements here, but I like to use this. I also will use a little bit of oregano leaves, same thing. This is like $1. I personally throw some garlic in there, a little bit of garlic salt, not much. You don't really need that much. And then, of course, just some black pepper. Because we're using the garlic salt, we don't need to add regular salt. So I'll be back in a little bit to update you guys, to let you know how this is turning out and show you the final ingredient that we're going to need. Okay, y'all. Well, we're getting real close to the end now. We're talking maybe another 20 minutes worth of cooking time. So now it's time to add the final ingredient. And the final ingredient is just a can of diced tomatoes. As you can see, I got this discounted 75 cents where I bought it. You know, they're usually about $1, maybe $1.50. So, again, really cheap food. Very delicious, very nourishing. And, you know, we got the pot going right now. Now, it's really important when you cook this, just to, once you get everything in there and it's cooking, reduce the heat. Reduce it by a lot. You want it barely bubbling, barely simmering. And also make sure you really get in there and scrape the bottom, keep it turning. Otherwise, you know, you're going to get burning at the bottom, and you really don't want that. So, this is all the ingredients. This is all the cooking stuff of it. I'll be back in a little bit to show you the final product, I guess. Well, here's dinner. And after this plate, I can assure you this is going to fill me up. And I still have plenty more, almost an entire pot. But that really doesn't mean much unless you really kind of enjoy what you eat. So, now it's time to do the taste test. Alright, well, let's give it a try. Now that is a damn good meal. And, like I said, it's pretty cheap to cook. Figure, I used about pound and a half of beans. Figure, take the 10-pound bag of beans, I paid maybe $11 or $12 for it. This, I'm going to get 5 meals out of at least. So if you break that down, we're talking maybe 20 to 25 cents per meal for beans. The can of tomatoes, even if I could get them when they're not on sale, we're talking another $1.50. Again, for 5 meals, you know, it breaks down to 20-something cents. The meat, I really wouldn't have used this meat if I didn't have to. I prefer using the scrapings just because, number one, they cook down better for this meal. This one took several more hours because of the fact that I had to let the stew meat break down. But still very delicious. Okay, don't get me wrong, it's still very delicious. The trimmings, they have a bit more natural flavor to them, just because of the fact that, well, they're right on the bones. The bones is where you get the most flavor. But using what I did to cook this meal, we high-end everything. So the spices are $1 or $2 a piece. Let's say I had to buy those. The meat was $12. The beans and everything, we'll call that $2. We'll call the beans $2 themselves. And the can of tomatoes, we'll call that $1.50. So we're looking at what? That'd be 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.50, something like that. Really not that much when you consider that this is 5 meals worth of food. So why did I make this video? I kind of talked about it in the beginning. There's a lot of people right now that are scared and they're worried, and they should be concerned. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and downplay it. There are legitimate concerns right now that we all need to have. I'm not saying that we all need to freak out, but we all do need to share them. And a lot of these people I see, their main concern about things is, well, I can't eat cheaply. How am I supposed to do this? How can I survive without being able to go out and buy the things that I need every day? And then you talk to them and you realize these people don't know how to buy in bulk yet. They don't know how to cook in bulk yet. So I made this just as kind of a little explainer video. I understand that it's not the most detailed, and I'm sure somebody out there might have something to say about the way that I'm doing this. But I showed my equipment because, again, a lot of these people who are freaking out are young. And I want them to know that, hey, you don't have to have a lot of money to get a decent setup. You know, is my setup perfect? No, absolutely not. But I'm in a semi. Let's keep that in mind here. If I can do this in a semi, think about what somebody in, say, a college dorm should be able to do. They're stationary. They can get to where that they need to go in order to buy the stuff that they need. So that's kind of why I made this video, and I really do hope that you guys enjoy it. Please feel free to leave a comment down below. Like it if you liked it. If you're not subscribed, please feel free to. Yeah, but hey, have a nice day, and I'm going to go finish dinner. So this is the American Phoenix, signing off. Bye.